Right, hey guys, how we doing? Back in another video from Chuck. He seems to be on his thing he does every few months, where he just starts getting back on the uploads and streams and that. And today we have got could Garou take down the Z Fighters? Zaro Garou was a really intriguing character to me in the second season of One Punch Man. I've not read the manga, and I think season 3 is out next year, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I've seen some spoilers with the whole Garou thing. I've seen Garou fighting Saitama and all that stuff, and it seems epic. But still, I don't know the build up in that and all the stuff that goes on. So, could Garou take down the Z Fighters? Let's find out.
With One Punch Man Season 3 being confirmed to be in the works,
Can't
I thought
wait.
that to bring hype to one of the key characters, that being Garou, I would do a hypothetical with one of my favorite animes ever,
He's so
Dragon
cool.
Ball Z.
Yay!
So, to get right into the point, what would happen if Garou appeared in the Dragon Ball world and learned of its inhabitants? And if he tried hunting them to catch some fate, at which parts would he succeed in, and at what parts would he stop at? Would Garou be able to slap around the Z Fighters, or would he fall like Goku's ops before him? For those that have seen Dragon Ball Z before, you may have a good idea about how powerful the characters are.
They can blow up planets. Can Garou blow up planets? Let's find out.
But I'd like to quickly cover how high the verse scales at certain points in the series, and then we'll compare it to Garou's feats.
Okay, cool.
To begin, Master Roshi with his Kamehameha in his max power form was able to wipe out the moon with a power level of 180, which is consistent and not an outlier since it is stated in the Daizenshu that Goku's Kamehameha can shatter the moon, and Piccolo prior to his battle against the Saiyans was also able to
blow up the
casually
moon.
vaporize the moon to stop Gohan's rampage.
In like a second.
Which I've seen people argue is more so leaning towards small planet levels. Although this is only in the Z anime, we do see King Vegeta casually wave away a planet and other celestial bodies, and Vegeta also vaporizes a planet prior to coming to the Earth. Even discounting the anime filler, it is stated by Vegeta numerous times that he would blow away the Earth, and this power is confirmed by the Daizenshu as well.
Well, yeah, because the idea was Goku needed to stop that beam, when it otherwise the whole planet would have been destroyed.
We never see any star busting in Dragon Ball Z, but it is fair to say that this level is reached during the Namek Saga, most particularly with Frieza, who was able to casually vaporize planet Vegeta, a planet with 10 times the gravity of Earth. If you account for the fact that moon busting starts at 180 and Super Saiyan Goku's power level in the Namek Saga is literally over 800,000 times above it,
That's one
it's fair
hell
to
of a
assume that they
multiplier, yeah.
reached stellar levels, and this would make sense being that during the Cell Saga, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Super Perfect Cell are powerful enough to blow away the entire solar system, which is confirmed by the manga, the anime, El Manga Legendario,
Just everything confirms it, right?
and the History of Trunks TV film guide. You could even argue that they scale into the multi-solar system levels all the way back in the Namek Saga, being that in the anime filler, Namek's explosion is so massive that it could be seen from outside the galaxy, which is confirmed by the official Toei episode summaries as well. Keep in mind, this is the power showcased by Frieza prior to his return, and speaking of the mechanized tyrant, he was stated as being able to produce a supernova with 10 times the power he
Damn, it's 10 times the energy he used to destroy the planet Namek. Damn, so it is yet. Whoa.
used to destroy Namek, making it even higher into multi-solar system levels if you want to wank. It's also revealed in the Daizenshu 4 that there are nebulas or solar systems with innumerable stars, and that the solar system is a galactic nebula, inferring that wiping out a solar system in Dragon Ball is more like in the multi-solar system levels of power. And hell, you can even argue that Cell reaches universal levels of power, since it is stated not only in the manga, but the official Toei episode summary as well.
As soon as it's more than one source, it kind of becomes reliable.
With the Buu saga, it depends on what iteration you go with, but in the manga, Kid Buu is stated as being able to bring an end to the universe. Whether it's in one shot or over time is up to interpretation, but due to the Buus and Goku scaling several times above Cell and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, they should easily be in the multi-solar system levels
Yeah,
of
definitely,
power.
Jesus Christ.
If you go with the anime, Super Saiyan 3 Goku was able to match Kid Buu blow for a while, who was implied as being able to wipe out the Grand Kai's planet, which is multi-galactic in size, due to it orbiting heaven, which is as wide as the universe. It is also stated that the
huge
Kaioshin
space.
realm, which is 1/10 the size of the infinite macrocosm, was being destroyed by the brawl between the golden-haired hero and the demonic pink gremlin. For further confirmation, we do see Boo eviscerate galaxies on screen too, so they likely scale from galactic to multi-galactic levels, arguably universal, depending on how extensive you think the damage on the Kaioshin realm was. In terms of speed, Goku all the way back during his training in the Lookout was told by Popo that he had to become faster than lightning, which is high hypersonic. We've seen Piccolo vaporize the moon very quickly, which can be argued to be relativistic to light speed.
Light speed, yeah.
And we've even seen fodder like Raditz react to that level of speed as
Yeah, so like speed feats are like so fast from just the very beginning of Zemo.
well. As confirmed by Vegeta during his battle with Kui, if one becomes stronger, they also become
Speed
faster.
increases, yeah.
Meaning that Saiyan Saga and Namek Saga Goku are already dozens to hundreds of thousands of times faster than Light, let alone Cell and Buu Saga iterations of Goku and whoever scales to him. And of course, since Buu was stated as being able to wipe away everything in the universe, he should be massively faster than Light as well, even more so when you account for the fact that he deleted a galaxy in a couple of years. And although Super Saiyan 2 tier characters aren't as fast, they should still scale from this feat. Either way, whether you're using anime or the manga, it is pretty clear that Dragon Ball Z characters, even ones that aren't the main cast, are massively faster
Yeah.
than Light. However, if you're accounting for anime filler, the Dragon Ball Z characters that scale to base Afterlife Saga Goku already have massively faster than Light to infinite levels of speed, given that Goku and Pikkon were able to cross from the Grand Kai's planet all the way down to Hell, which is several universal distances away, and it can even be argued that they traveled a multi-infinite distance, since the living universe is stated to be infinite.
Multi-infinite distance, what the fuck is that?
Which is small compared to the whole afterlife. So, at the end of the Buu Saga, Goku and the others should be within the star, to multi-solar system, to multi-galactic levels of power. In the manga, characters such as Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien should be above baseline planetary, given that they become stronger than Saiyan Saga Goku.
Yes.
But if you go with the anime filler, they're easily in the multi-solar system levels, given that Yamcha, even Yamcha of all people, was able to defeat Elite
It's always just, even Yamcha? No way.
Buu, who was able to press Pikkon, who was able to casually one-tap King Cold, Frieza, and Perfect Cell with ease. And as such, Buu Saga Krillin and Tien should scale from him. So now that we have gone over what the Dragon Ball Z cast is rocking with, what does Garou bring to the table?
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by this. I am very intrigued. Come on, what does he do? What are his feats that even makes you think about this as a hypothetical?
For those who aren't caught up to One Punch Man, Garou was one of Bang's, aka Silver Fang's students, and his most prodigious one at that. He's an insanely cool character due to his ability to replicate and master techniques, adapt, and make it out of seemingly impossible situations. Garou has plenty of insane abilities which he gained and refined over his many battles. From making a laughingstock of lower ranked heroes trying to jump him while he was sick and poisoned, to fighting the Chad Super Alloy Darkshine, to eventually overwhelming him, to slashing through the gigantic Sage Centipede like a Ginsu knife, to eventually facing off against the caped Baldy himself, Saitama, Garou has a resume for intense scuffles.
Whoa.
Over the course of these battles, Garou
That looks so sick. That looks so sick. I've seen some people posting just random panels from One Punch Man. Like, was it manga panels that go, just like, just amazing. The art is so cool.
Goes through several transformations to the point he reaches his cosmic form,
Whoa.
a holy level of power which one can only obtain through the blessing of God. So at his peak, just what was he capable of? Well, he can quickly replicate techniques and refine them to the point of improving them, he can attack pressure points, he can redirect attacks, and he can ignore most opponents' durability with Roaring Aura Sky Ripping Fist and his Fajin, which affects the organs.
Whoa.
Knows all of the secrets of the energy in the universe, can emit cosmic irradiation and gamma ray burst, and after seeing Blast use his portals, he was able to quickly learn it and use it in combat as well to attack omnidirectionally. And his most overpowered ability, his infamous power copying, which allowed him to give Saitama a pretty tough fight and match him blow for blow for a good period of time. Once Garou reaches his
Oh my god, that looks so sick. Oh my god.
cosmic state, he scales massively above characters like Boros, who is stated as being able to either raise a planet's surface going by the manga, to wiping out planets, to straight up being able to destroy stars as stated in the OPM compass. The most impressive feat in the Saitama and Garou battle is when Garou manages to copy Saitama and tries to hit him with a Serious Punch, which in combination with the Cape Baldy Serious Punch, created a Serious Punch squared, which destroyed an entire section of stars, easily making this feat multi-solar system level.
So that's what that was. Oh my god, that's insane.
But you could argue much higher. But at the very least, we can say that he reaches
Wow, that looks amazing.
a pretty decent level in comparison to Dragon Ball so far. His speed is easily massively faster than light, even prior to his further evolved monster and cosmic forms, since he was able to create constellations and keep up with Platinum Sperm and Flashy Flash. Someone even did an extensive calculation on the distance that Garou and Saitama traveled during their clashes, which can be hundreds of times the speed of light, to being well over billions of times the speed of light.
Whoa.
Regardless, it's fair to say that Cosmic Garou, even well before reaching his peak, was already massively faster than light. Now, I will admit, there is a potentially higher speed meta you could argue for Garou, scaling from Saitama punching him through time,
Yeah, that was yeah.
since it was his technique to begin with. Since Saitama was moving, it can be argued that his time travel could be applicable to his combat speed, but I think it is equally fair to say that it could also just be a hacks. Point is, you can argue immeasurable speeds for Garou
Movement
going with that
beyond
line of thought,
time.
which we'll come back to later on. But to go through the Gauntlet, I think it is fair to say that Cosmic Garou would clap the Saiyan Saga pretty easily. He could also have some trouble with the high tiers like Goku and Frieza during the Namek Saga, depending on how valid you think the multi-solar system level argument is.
Interesting.
I also think that if you use the higher end scaling for Cell Solar Kamehameha, then you can argue that Garou would have trouble with Cell Saga Gohan, and by extension Buu Saga Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha, since they do scale from that. But honestly,
Right.
the Buu Saga is where I generally think Garou
No
will have the
chance.
hardest time, but there are some possible win cons for the martial arts aficionado.
Interesting. Alright, cool. Alright, he's going this far. Sorry, I didn't think he'd make it this far. Alright, cool.
For one, Garou's Fajid can affect someone's organs regardless of how durable they are to an extent. So if any of the Z fighters have their guard down or underestimate an
Oh, and
attack,
just throws that
they can
out. Like, if Vegeta's just laughing his head off, like, you thought you could beat me, and then he just goes, and Vegeta's like, oh god, my organs.
definitely get massively torn up by this technique. A topic I was constantly debating myself on was regarding the cosmic radiation that Garou was emitting passively and with his attacks. Would it be able to affect the Z fighters? I mean, generally speaking, I think it depends on if you consider enduring energy attacks in Dragon Ball as surviving intense radiation. But would it be fair to say that it's the same type of ionizing radiation like Garou had? I'm not sure, but I will say that since Ki can be used as a barrier, it could potentially counteract the effects. Basically, what ionizing radiation does to living things is break down bonds that hold DNA together, and it's hard to tell if Ki would work as a barrier against that. So I will say that one potential win con for Garou, if he's fighting Goku or Vegeta for example, is to overwhelm them with enough radiation that it weakens them. However, it is worthy to mention that Vegeta did hold millions of Xeno units of radiation in the palm of his hand when trying to become a great ape, so you could argue that the Saiyans have some level of radiation resistance or intake, and characters like Buu and Cell can fly in space, so this likely cancels out a win con for Garou. Now, one of the greatest assets for Garou here is his reflection and power copying. He would certainly be able to copy the fighting styles of the opponents he faces just by seeing it once, but would he be able to replicate Ki attacks? After all, Cosmic Garou does learn to fire his own energy attacks, and at one point even states that he knows all of the energy in the universe,
Oh
so
my
you could
God,
argue
so could he
something
release
similar
it?
to Ki could be included in the mix. It really depends on if you think he can copy exact Ki techniques, or at least mimic their effects or appearance. Garou could also redirect an attack if it's not too powerful for him, so that's one possible trump card he can use in a battle. When it comes to things like Super Saiyan or Kaioken, I don't think Garou would be able to copy the iconic glowing form, because it is a genetic trait and not really a technique.
Yeah, it's like, it is a, yeah. No one else can go Super Saiyan other than a Saiyan, because it's a Saiyan thing, it's in the blood. Yeah.
Kaioken, however, if showcased by Goku in the fight, could potentially be copied, and I could see Garou master it mid-battle, to the point it has massively less drain than Goku's version. And maybe he could even use a better version of the Mafuba if things really had to take a turn like that. If Garou is throwing down hands with Cell, I think he would have a challenging time, especially if he allows him to grow stronger by abusing Zenkais and regenerating, or by trying to jump him with Cell Juniors. I personally think that Boo would be a huge problem to
Could
deal
also
with
absorb
due to
him,
his
yeah.
regeneration, magic, and insane levels of stamina. And of course, due to his ability to also copy techniques. Again, it's hard to decipher if Garou would be able to copy Boo's regeneration or magic, since they are not techniques and are more intrinsic to the nature or genetics of Boo. But I'll leave that up to you. Either way, I think if he's pushed into using it, Majin Buu could also turn him into candy and beat him that way. But hey, Garou could also just reflect it and beat him like this slim evil Buu did.
I suppose.
Also, I don't think it would be really a huge deal if Garou were to replicate everyone's techniques except for a few exceptions. After all, Cell literally had Goku's, Frieza's, Vegeta's, and Piccolo's
All those
techniques
cells,
and
yeah.
still got his ass whooped by Gohan. Point is, technique doesn't matter as much if the opponent has an overwhelming advantage in power, durability, and speed, which is definitely going to be encountered when fighting the high Cell and Buu Saga tiers. Hell, even if Garou copied and combined Goku's abilities, Goku would likely just be able to copy him back like he did with the Kamehameha. And although I can't see Garou push Goku depending on which iteration he's fighting, Goku is incredibly skilled as well since he surpassed Grandpa Gohan, who was unrivaled and was without equal in every martial arts there was, as stated by Yamcha. And Goku also received thousands of years worth of training with King Kai, which is pretty huge. If Goku or Vegeta are fighting for the kill, I think they can stop Cosmic Garou before he grows too much in power, to the point that he's unstoppable. But in character, if Goku is messing around and is pacing himself in the battle and allows Garou to grow, he can potentially get overwhelmed and lose that way.
Yeah, it all comes down to like the way the characters like are, their personality wise, not necessarily just the feats and abilities and techniques they have. Like Vegeta, I especially feel like could easily like just let himself just be beaten by things that Garou can do that we've just been told.
It all depends on how quickly Garou can close the gap and if you think he can copy transformations or natural abilities. Gotenks and Gohan could also overpower Garou, but possibly fumble the bag due to how they carry things out against Buu, if you want to look at it through a narrative aspect. In conclusion, I think Garou clears the Saiyan sagas pretty soundly, likely clears the Namek saga with some difficulty, would certainly encounter more difficulty in the Cell saga depending on the arguments, but would likely lose to the mid to high Buu saga tiers due to their more immense attack potency, durability, and speed. If even base pre-Buu Saga Goku was capable of crossing universal distances in mere moments, it is unfathomable how fast Super Saiyan 3 Goku and characters who scale to him are. And although I'd expect the Z Fighters to fight Garou one-on-one, there is nothing stopping them from jumping Garou's ass if someone was getting pressed, in which case, he would be in an extremely dire situation. Regarding the higher speed meta I mentioned earlier, I could see Garou blitz the Z Fighters if you do think he can time travel hyperspace punch spam his way through them or something, but if he doesn't grow in power quickly enough, I can see him losing ground, although I wouldn't put too much confidence in the higher speed arguments. Otherwise, I think he stops there at the Buu Saga, especially if you upscale from the multi-solar system implications within the Frieza and Cell arcs. I don't think there's really a point in bringing up Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball GT in the movies, since the characters there massively outskill even more.
Never bring up GT.
And when you have things like Time Stop, Ultra Instinct, the Hakai, movement in a space beyond time, or shaking the afterlife, and other stuff like that, it definitely makes it harder for Garou to win. But yeah, let me know how far you think Garou makes it within Dragon Ball. I hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and peace out.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It's cool to see like what the Garou feats are and stuff like that as well. My God, it'd be cool to see that animated. But I still feel like season 3, from what I've seen and how many volumes there are and stuff, I still feel like season 3 isn't going to get to all that, which is a shame. But I hope One Punch Man does carry on animated wise. I loved it. I loved season 2. I know people didn't like the animation style, or like, because it wasn't as good as season 1, but it was still very, very enjoyable, I thought. And yeah, the interesting scaling side of the Z versus One Punch Man verse. Check out my Etsy shop. I love the t-shirt that I've designed. I absolutely love it. Go check it. Go see it. See it there. It's really cool. It's awesome. And buying it will help support the channel. Also, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, Link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask support channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. I'll see you guys. Right, guys. Right there.